Yu is a high school student who lost his parents and lives with his younger sister, Ayumi. He possesses a rare supernatural ability that no one else has. He can control anyone just by thinking about them, but there's one drawback. This power lasts for only 5 seconds, and during that time, he completely loses consciousness. Just imagine such a power. He could easily rob banks, for example, but like any aimless teenager, he uses it for fights and mischievous acts. However, at the end of the school year, everyone was shocked. He got the highest grades and topped the ranking, but how you never study? The secret is simple. During every exam, he would take control of the smartest students, copy their answers, and then write them down himself. Man. Now, this is getting interesting. And with this trick, he aced all his exams, allowing him to apply to one of the most prestigious schools in Japan. But before being accepted, he had to pass the entrance exam. As expected, he relied on the same trick, aced the test, and got accepted. However, this time things didn't go smoothly. The student council began to suspect him. They summoned him, accusing him of cheating. If he was confident in his abilities, he had to solve this test in front of them, right now. Tried to escape, but they warned him that if he ran, he would be expelled immediately. He had no choice but to sit down and take the test. Yet he couldn't understand a single thing at that moment. He decided to use his power again, this time on one of the student council members, assuming they knew the answers. But instead, he discovered something entirely unexpected. Enraged, he tore up his answer sheet. Suddenly, a girl appeared out of nowhere and snapped a picture of him. Her name was Tomori, and she was from a completely different school. She said to him, "I've taken several photos of you losing consciousness. Suddenly you can control other people's bodies, can't you?" Realizing he had been exposed, he tried to escape, but someone else chased after him. Someone incredibly fast, so fast that you couldn't even process what was happening. When they finally caught him, the mysterious person said, "My name is Akaho. My ability is teleportation. I move at lightning speed, but my problem is that I can't stop whenever I want," Yu asked. "And what do you want from me?" Alcohol replied. "We want you to join our school." Timur then explained that their school had many students with supernatural abilities, and that he wasn't the only one. Superpowers are like an illness. They appear during adolescence and eventually disappear, so you need to stay with us until your ability fades away. Our school protects all those with special abilities from scientists who want to turn us into lab rats, she added. Not only that, but you will also join the student council, and together we'll search for others like us. But Yule refused the idea. Suddenly, Tomodi vanished in the blink of an eye, then started beating him up. Her ability was invisibility, but it had one flaw. It only worked on one person at a time, while everyone else could see her normally. That moment, Yu decided to join them. Yu returned home, where his sister was preparing food for him. During their conversation, she told him, "We don't have a father or a mother, but I have a feeling that there was a third person with us." Yu didn't pay much attention to her words and simply continued with what he was doing. Later, he moved into the new student dorms after enrolling in the new school, where he joined the student council led by Tomori. Their goal was to find people with supernatural abilities, protect them, and bring them to the school. The team received intel from a source who provided them with the locations of ability users, so they began gathering them one by one. A famous singer named USA joined them. She had a mysterious ability, 0.4 seconds she wasn't even aware of. She could channel the spirit of her deceased sister into her body. When her sister's spirit took over, she could use her unique power controlling fire. Later on, it was revealed that Tomori had an older brother who was passionate about singing and music. However, he and his sister were captured by scientists and subjected to cruel experiments that drove him insane. One day, someone rescued him from the facility, but it was too late. His mental state had completely deteriorated. Now, he was confined in a psychiatric hospital. They went to visit him, and there Yu showed signs of shock as he realized that what Tomori had said wasn't just a joke. It was a horrifying reality. Even so, they continued their mission, searching for ability users day after day. One day, Yu returned home to find his sister feeling unwell. He told her not to go to school the next day. The next morning, while Yu was at school, the team received a report from their informant about a new ability user, someone with the power of destruction. Upon learning the location, Yu felt a strange sense of unease because the place mentioned was the student dormitory complex. That mean the person in question was his sister. Tomodi ordered a confirmation, so they went to visit her and spent some time with her. They didn't notice anything unusual, but Ayumi told her brother that she had a terrifying nightmare. As they were leaving, Tomodi asked Yu to ask her about the details of the nightmare. He went back and asked her, and she replied, "I saw the ground breaking everywhere and collapsing completely." Yu didn't understand the meaning of the dream, but he didn't think much of it. The next day, Yu went to school while Ayumi prepared to go to her own. He once again told her not to go, but after he left, she took the opportunity and went anyway without his knowledge. By the end of the day, Tomori told Yu that he needed to hurry and check on his sister. He ran as fast as he could, but he was too late. At school, there was a girl who was jealous of Ayumi because a boy she liked had shown interest in her. Filled with resentment, she spat out, "You ruined everything. I loved him." Then she pulled out a box cutter, intending to kill her. Frightened, Ayumi ran away, but the enraged girl chased after her until she was cornered with no escape. At that moment, Yu and his friends were running at full speed to save her, but the overwhelming fear inside Ayumi unconsciously triggered her ability. Everything around her started to collapse. The walls, the ground, everything crumbled completely. Yu arrived, but it was already too late. Ayumi was dead. He completely broke down, falling into a deep depression, isolating himself, and losing all hope. Day after day, his friends tried to help him, but it was no use. His condition worsened to the point where he wandered aimlessly, picking fights with people, and nearly falling into drug addiction. But at the critical moment, Tomori stepped in and stopped him, saying, "Snap out of this madness. I've been watching you this whole time." "Enough," he responded angrily. "What do you care? This has nothing to do with you," she replied. "Fine, I'll leave you alone, but on one condition. I'll cook a meal for you, and if you take just one bite, I'll disappear from your life completely." Reluctantly, he agreed and went with her to her house, where she prepared a meal for him. But the moment he tasted it, he was shocked. "This is the same dish Ayumi used to make for me." He never particularly liked it, but she would always cook it for him and write encouraging notes with it. He remembered her, and tears welled up in his eyes. He began to cry, then started eating non-stop. "I don't know why I'm crying." Overcome by nostalgia for the meal his sister used to make, he finished the entire dish. At that moment, Amori smiled and said, "Well, you didn't just take one bite, you finished the whole plate. That means you're staying with us." Finally, Yu smiled. He returned to his team, and his desire to continue moving forward was rekindled. Later, Tomori decided to take him to a concert of a band she loved, the same band her brother had been a fan of. They went together, and Yu was surprised by the song playing. It was supposed to be performed for the first time yet. He said, "I'm sure I've heard this before." At that moment, memories began flooding back, and he felt a distortion in his mind. He screamed at the top of his lungs before collapsing and losing consciousness. That's when we saw Yue's past and discovered that as a child, he had been held in a facility where experiments were conducted on people with supernatural abilities. We also learned that he had an older brother who possessed the most powerful ability of all time travel. Because of this, he was kept blindfolded at all times, so he couldn't use it. Moreover, we found out that Yu's true ability wasn't controlling others. It was the power to steal and absorb other abilities, but he had never realized it. Everyone devised a plan to free Yu's brother so he could travel back in time and save them. And indeed, Yu managed to rescue him. His brother then went back to the past to gather everyone and protect them, but each time he failed. This forced him to keep rewinding time repeatedly to correct his mistakes. However, each time he used his ability, he lost part of his vision. If he were to go completely blind, he would never be able to use his power again. He continued trying until he reached his final attempt, where he lost his sight completely. But this time, he had learned from all his mistakes. He established schools to gather and protect ability users. Then, he had someone erase his own memories as well as those of Yu and Ayumi so they would never remember. Yu suddenly woke up to find Kumagami, the boy who could locate ability users, standing before him. He said, "You finally remember? Come with me. Your brother is waiting. We can save your sister." They went deep into the forest, where they opened a hidden door leading into the mountain. There, Yu finally reunited with his brother, who told him, "After I lost my sight, I could no longer use my ability, but you. "You're the only one who can save Ayumi." Yu was confused. How, he asked. His brother replied, "Did you forget you can steal abilities? You need to take my power, travel back in time, and save her." Yu indeed travels back in time, and the same scene repeats itself, but this time he steals her power and saves her. Afterward, he meets Kumagami and asks him to take him to his brother. Kumagami responds, "Good. It's a relief that you remember now." When they reach his brother, Yu explains what happened. His brother then tells him, "You can't return to your normal lives, especially you. Many organizations will try to obtain your ability." He explains that they will have to live in this facility until their abilities disappear, adding, "As you know, this facility was established for supernatural ability research, and it is the safest place in all of Japan." Later, they head to the laboratory, where they learn the true origin of supernatural abilities. It turns out they are caused by a comet called Charlotte, which passes near Earth every 75 years. As it moves, strange particles fall onto the planet's surface, granting abilities to those who inhale them. Because of this, efforts have begun to develop a vaccine to prevent more people from being affected, and the production has already started in Japan. Meanwhile, a new ability user emerges. Kumagami heads to the student council, but as soon as he gets into a car and they start driving, the driver suddenly takes an unexpected route. Kumagami asks what's happening, only to realize that the driver has been threatened. His family is being held hostage, leaving him with no choice but to obey. They arrive at their destination, where they encounter a foreign terrorist group, aiming to exploit ability users for their own benefit. The driver, desperate, says, "I did what you asked. Now, let my family go." But the group responds, "We still need you. We'll contact you later if you ever want to see your family again. You'd better follow orders." At that moment, the driver apologizes to Kumagami, then leaves. One of the terrorists grabs Kumagami and starts torturing him, trying to extract information about the other ability users. First, he refuses to say anything, but they inject him with a drug that forces him to reveal the truth. He ends up exposing everything. Things escalate further as the terrorist group invades the residential complex and kidnaps Tamori. They then contact Yu's brother, delivering a grim ultimatum. "If you want to see both of them alive again, hand you over to us. And if your plan fails, we will assume you've traveled back in time, and we will kill the driver's family." Yu's brother immediately calls the driver and asks, "How long have they been threatening you?" Driver replies, "Since before the academy was even founded." At that moment, Yu's brother realizes something. They can't travel back further than that point in time. They must be uncertain whether they can replicate the same sequence of events again. Everyone gathers to discuss their next move, and they come to a single conclusion. They must send you to rescue them. Even if he fails, he can simply travel back in time and try again. Yu goes to the location and confronts the terrorist, but suddenly, a girl charges at him at high speed and rips out one of his eyes. He tries to use his time travel ability, but fails. That's when he realizes the truth. His ability only works when both eyes are open. With just one eye, he can't activate it. With no other choice left, Yu unleashes his devastating ability, causing the entire place to collapse. Sometime later, his friends arrive, but it's already too late. They find Yu still alive and search for the others. They manage to locate them, but Kumagami is on the verge of death. He had sacrificed himself to save Tamori, and tragically, he takes his final breath and dies. Yu's brother screams in anguish, devastated at the loss of his dearest friend. Later, Yu wakes up in a hospital, where he reunites with his friends and learns of Kumagami's death. He then goes to see his brother, only to find him in a deep depression, just as Yu himself had once been. His brother then tells him that foreign groups have started intensifying their activities and that Japan will suffer greatly because of it. Yu returns to his room to find Tamori waiting for him. He tells her, "I don't know what to do now? I wish there was a way to solve this problem using my power," she replies. "Actually, there is a solution, but it's extremely dangerous. You have to steal all the abilities in the entire world. Using the vaccine we're developing in the lab, we'll be able to stop the spread of abilities forever. That way, supernatural powers will completely vanish from the world." Yu is shocked by the brilliance of this plan. He agrees to it, but before anything else, he confesses his love for her. She doesn't respond directly. Instead, she says, I'll wait for you when you save the world and return. I'll be yours. They promise each other. And then she tells him, since you'll be stealing everyone's abilities, start with me first. He steals her ability, turning her into a normal human again. Then, he steals the powers of his friends at school as well. After that, Yu prepares for his journey and meets Tomodi one last time. She gives him some notes. She prepared herself to help him on his mission. And so, Yu sets out on his quest to cleanse the world of supernatural ability users. However, he faces one major problem. He needs an ability that allows him to locate those who possess powers. Eventually, he finds someone with a unique ability that enables them to identify ability users just by looking at a map. With this, his problem is solved. Yu continues stealing abilities one by one, but he begins to suffer from severe side effects due to the overwhelming number of powers he has absorbed. With so many abilities inside him, Yu starts losing control over himself, nearly harming civilians. As the days pass, his memories become increasingly jumbled. But there's one thing he clings to, something he refuses to let go of, even though he's completely forgotten what it is. It's the notes that Tomori gave him. Only one person remains. Once Yu steals their ability, he will have collected all the powers in the world. But by this point, his body has become incredibly weak. At that moment, someone attacks him from behind, injuring him. As the attacker moves closer, a girl steps in to defend Yu, refusing to leave him alone. It turns out that this girl is the last ability user in the world: durability, courage. Yu steals her power, but she remains standing before him, unwavering. He tells her to leave, saying, "Get away. I'll handle this myself." Yu tries to move, but the man who attacked him is still determined to fight. He lands another blow, striking Yu in the back. Yu collapses to the ground, reaching for the notes, but he completely loses consciousness. At that moment, a plane appears in the sky. On board is his brother, who takes him back home. Yu wakes up in a hospital to find Tomori sitting beside him, waiting for him to regain consciousness, but he doesn't recognize her. Confused, he asks, "Who are you?" In 2.7 seconds. She answers, "I'm your girlfriend." Then she adds, "I'm the one who made those notes for you." Yu looks at the notes in his hands and says, "These notes were the only thing that kept me going, the only thing I couldn't let go of." At that moment, tears stream down to Mori's face. But they aren't tears of sadness, they are tears of joy.